seen it, used it?
No, Sarikaji, we don't have access, right? We have not seen, we have not used in person. So it's all what we saw is only in the videos and ads so far.
Okay, so just for all of you to know, CoPilot and Edge is actually free and you can all use it. Okay,
Copilot in
Edge is actually free and you
the
can
one
all
in
use
we
it.
already use.
I will
That
show
we use,
this.
Sarika ma'am.
Yeah, so this is completely free to use anyways. I will talk about this as we go along. Okay, so the subject of our discussion today was how you can unleash productivity with the Microsoft Copilot. And it is actually, we are talking of Copilot, but actually it's Copilots because there are multiple Copilots which are available on the Microsoft Cloud. And so we are actually talking of all of them together when we use the word Copilot here. Okay, what I want you all to think about is that most people, including each one of us, use less than 10% of what an M365 app is capable of. And when I say an M365 app, I'm talking of Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I'm sure you'll all agree to it. We probably don't even use 5% of the capabilities. But there is a huge amount of capability there. And so today the question will be, oh my God, one more. I'm not even using what I have. And then the second thing is, okay, Microsoft is releasing more and more features. So how much can I learn and how much can I use? But Microsoft has been thinking differently, and we also all need to think differently to say that what if I don't have to learn those features, but instead of this, if the tool or the app itself can learn how we work. So we change the whole perspective here. That the tool or the app that we use should understand me as a user, what my preference is, what do I do, how do I work, right? So that is the very, very basis of how and why Copilot has been created. The other aspect of it is that Microsoft did a survey and you'll see this is called State of AI. This was an internal study done by Microsoft in June 2023, where they discovered that all employees want AI-powered chat. Everybody saw ChatGPT, OpenAI. But within the organization structure, the company is hesitant, obviously because of privacy and data security concerns. But everybody wants it. And everybody kind of feels that this is something which will help them to be more efficient. So you can see what came out of this study, right? And it also came out that more than 90% of BDMs and technical professionals had already used an AI service. They were using it through the public web services. So in some cases, organizations saw that employees were picking up content, internal content from documents, etc., and putting it on the web to a public AI service to get it summarized or to get it formatted. And they were worried that this is putting data at risk, right? And so some corporations even blocked the OpenAI service or other open services for this reason. So this is what was found in June 2023 in a study which Microsoft did. And hence Copilot was born. It's not that Copilot was born in June, but hence the basis or the justification for why a Copilot is required. So what is Copilot basically? I, as a user, use my own way of working, talking words, and make the Copilot do my work for me. Whether I'm doing creative work, that is composing something, whether it's simply a tedious job to be done, where I need to be faster or more efficient, or whether there's something new which I don't know how to do, I could learn from it. So these are the typical efficiencies which any user can get from Copilot. Summarizing, drafting emails, generating images, learning new skills, or basically learning about things you don't know, and getting answers for complex questions. Now, what is the justification for getting a Copilot or for investing in a Copilot? We've all seen OpenAI, AI. There are large language models around. Everybody's familiar with it. Everybody's played around with ChatGPT, right? So what has been done with Copilot? So Copilot basically has underlying all of these models. The latest GPT-4, of course, we are beyond GPT-4 now. So Copilot has been built on top of these models, which means you have the latest of the AI available here. Uh, I, in terms of licensing, there are certain Microsoft licenses with which Copilot is free. Since 1st December onwards this year, Copilot is actually available free on all M365 plans, including the F plans. So everybody can use a limited set for free. It is transparent, it is current, which means that it's real time. It's not kind of working on a stored amount of data. Whatever is updated in real time, it will get you results on that. And most importantly, business data is protected, which means that whatever you ask, it does not go to any public service. Your chats are not saved. Your chats are not used to train the model. The models are already trained. With all of these features, it started making sense for organizations to adopt Copilot because these were some of their major concerns. And the biggest concern was always business data because employees have already been using it. We've been using it, using text from corporate work documents on OpenAI. So that's what Copilot changed, right? So it's basically a web chat powered by AI, but which has commercial data protection. The three aspects which we spoke about repeated here again. That's the difference. Since you all have not, okay, we'll see it in a minute. Okay, so the Copilot is embedded across multiple apps of Microsoft 365. There's Word, there's Excel, there's PowerPoint, there's Outlook, there's Teams. This is the M365 Copilot, just one of the many Copilots. We are talking of M365 Copilot because this is like simply the largest and the most mature Copilot available from Microsoft today. They have Copilots for Power Platform, they have Copilots for GitHub, they have Copilots for DAX, they have Copilots for multiple things, but this is the most mature Copilot today. What is embedded in Edge? It takes care of security, compliance, privacy, and responsible AI aspects. Microsoft has spoken hugely about the responsible AI part. So the whole idea here is that it is very, very secure and no company needs to worry about their data going out because it's in a boundary within their own environment. There is a semantic index. We'll talk about it. What this means is that there is a search or an indexing which happens across of all of these apps, and it helps you be creative, unlocks productivity, and up-level skills. Those are the three key benefits you get out of it. This is the Copilot in Word. I'm sure you've seen demos and screenshots of Copilot. All of you would have seen there are enough videos around that you can write, edit, and all of that. In PowerPoint, you would have seen some demos. We have some demos available also. So it's there in all of those, Excel, PowerPoint, and all of them. And then, so this is the most underlying powerful feature of the Copilot actually on Microsoft 365, which is the semantic index. For those of you who've used SharePoint, you would know that when you search in SharePoint, this is what you get, what you're seeing on the left side here. Right, you get a list of documents or links or pages which match the keyword that you've given. This is a typical output of a SharePoint search. When you do the same thing with Copilot, now what's happened? Suddenly you've got AI in it. So which means that you've got now, it's automatically correcting the spelling mistakes that you're making. It's not just giving you the link of the document, it's also providing you a small summary of what is there over there in that document. The results are ranked. It's also generating questions which are related to the question you asked. So this changes the whole way the search results come in, which simply means that you get much more out of the searches than you do today. So it makes you it definitely makes you more productive because the next three questions also, which you may be thinking of, have already been generated, and you click on it and you get the answer. Something a little similar to what we are doing with ABB, Sija, you would relate to that. Okay. Now, how does this work and how do we address our customers' concerns about their data? This is by and large, I think the most important question that you would be asked when you try to ask a customer to invest in CoPilot. This is a little technical, but I'm sure you will understand. So this is the Microsoft 365 tenant boundary, what you see here, right? This is where the entire all the Microsoft apps, your Word, Excel, everything sits. This is where all the data of the organization sits. Entra is basically nothing but your identity, your user email ID with which you log in. And the graph is basically something which links everything together to your email ID, everything you do there, right? When you chat, when you create a document, it's the graph which links it together. So this is the boundary of the Microsoft 365 tenant. And the Copilot is a totally separate service, which if you see, it does not touch the tenant, it does not sit on the tenant at all. For those of you who don't know this, Bing Chat Enterprise, what Microsoft has released or announced in July, uh, has actually been renamed Copilot. So they are one and the same thing. Bing Chat Enterprise and Copilot are actually the same thing. So Copilot operates in data centers. Currently, these data centers are all in the United States. They do not yet have data centers in other regions. US customers won't have any concerns. And this is not at all linked to the Microsoft 365 tenant. So typically when you chat with it, it authenticates you from your tenant, but everything else is then handled within Copilot, which has AI large language models, which basically process your queries and send the result back. But there is a major importance of the Microsoft 365 tenant also, as you will see here. This diagram is a little more technical, but you don't need to go into the details. But the point you have to understand is the graph, this graph, which is sitting here. This graph gives every search its context. Your emails, your files, your meetings, your chats, your calendar, your contacts. Everything that you do, which has your name or rather your identity associated with it, is used as context for processing whatever it's processing with the Copilot. When I say used as context, it basically tells what kind of a user are you? What is your role? What kind of work do you do? All those insights are used by Copilot to return results which are more relevant to you. And that is the basic intelligence that it gets out of the Microsoft Graph. So that's why the M365 Copilot is like such a powerful tool because it puts together the graph with the capability of AI. And so it's highly contextual and every user will get a different response based on what they do. Just key highlights. So
Game a data set or
you are
have
breaking.
anything to do with graphical representation?
I cannot understand your question. Can somebody repeat? Your voice, your voice is breaking. Maybe you can type your question on the chat window. Okay, so we'll see the question when it comes up. Microsoft 365 Copilot, these are like the highlights, right? How do you position it to a corporate that it's grounded in their business data and has real-time access to their data as well as the context? This is the important part which I spoke about. Security, compliance, privacy in place because it is inheriting all the security of M365. So if they believe that M365 is secure, which they do because they use it, then they have no reason to doubt the security and the privacy that Copilot will offer because that's what is used here. Your data never leaves the M365 tenant. Nothing goes out ever. And it is not even used for training. This is a very important part, which needs to be communicated. It is integrated in every app that you use for productivity. These are our productivity apps, right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams. And you have a Copilot integrated in all of them. The user is in control, which means that you guide it. You tell it what you want. You tell it whether the response is useful to you or you don't want to use it. You are in control of what it gives. It learns from you as to what do you do and remembers your preferences. As it keeps learning from you, it is able to perform more tasks for you, not just return text, etc., but actually do new tasks. So it is designed to learn new skills. So that's a summary of the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Can somebody read out if a question has come up on the chat, please? And if not, we'll take it later. These are some industry use cases, and there are lot more. I mean, there are no case studies, as you can imagine right now, because it's so new. But these are some industry use cases which you can read through. Some of them are pretty simple, if you say, right? That which work in Excel, which could work in so analysis of market trends for a financial analyst. So for those of you who've used ChatGPT, Copilot will do everything that ChatGPT does without any problem. But over and above that, it will also be highly personalized and highly relevant to what you do. So that's where the difference comes. But otherwise, everything that you've seen AI do or a ChatGPT do, it's going to be able to do that. So when we talk of, say, an operations manager in a plant or a manufacturing plant, right? So it can pick up inventory data, real-time inventory data, and raise and give out information about, what kind of stock is there, what kind of inventory are they carrying, from a ABC class perspective, are they below the threshold levels? So it is able to provide all of those kind of inputs to an operations manager who would otherwise need to study the data by taking it in an Excel, right? It is able to generate things in a specific format, in a specific template. It can generate it in a document. Okay, so let me show you an example since most of you said you've not used it. Okay, so what you see here, I'll open a blank tab. You see my Edge browser. I hope the screen has changed for all of you. This is my Edge browser. And this is Copilot, which is also called Bing Chat Enterprise. This looks like, if you just now go to your browser and say Copilot, you will actually see this. You will see Copilot, but you will see it without this protected green thing, and you can all try it out. Because Copilot, as of 1st December, is free to use for everybody. Now here, this looks like what you call ChatGPT, right? Except that this is protected. You can see it says your personal and company data protected in this chat. So that's the difference between this is a M365 Copilot in Edge. Now here, see what I've done. I was reading this document from Microsoft on diversity and inclusion. It's a playbook, which is about 54 pages long. Okay, so let's. So I'm asking it to give me the top 3 takeaways from this playbook. And I just said this playbook. I have not given it the document. I have not given it a path. So you see it's brought it. It's read the file, 54 pages within a couple of seconds. And it has brought me the 3 key takeaways, which are there in this playbook. Right? Not only this, I can actually export this as a PDF or as a document and deliver it to anybody I want. So it will create this PDF and I can just print it out, or a Word document or a text file, however I want it. So this is the power of the generation which it brings. All of you can play around with this. Copilot is free to use, and you can make it do a wide range of things, and you'll see that it is really very, very powerful in how it does all of these things. Okay, so there are n number of examples that we can make it do. So it is, once again, it is ChatGPT. The only difference being that it is able to read documents which you are opening here. So anything I open here, it is able to do this. There is also a very, if you all don't know it, there's an interesting thing which you can use to learn this one. There is a link here, as you can see, aka.ms/copilot/try. Just go to this if you can't find it and just try it out. So you can play around with it. Okay, let's get back to our topic. Now, we got to know what CoPilot is. It's something like ChatGPT, but works in the context of the organization, talks to apps, talks to documents. Now, how do we get started with a customer? Let's suppose they say we bought a license or they want to buy a license. Where do we come in? What are the questions we ask them, right? So this is just a sample. So we obviously need to get an overview of their organization. And most importantly, if you see what I've highlighted, we want to know that, do they have a strategy to use AI to empower their people and help them be more productive? This is the key point or the key need which will match your customer to a Copilot, right? If a part of their modernization strategy is to empower people with AI and to use AI to improve productivity, then that customer is a match for you for Copilot, right? The second, once you've established that the customer is interested, right? Then the second thing is, what do they want to do with it? What's the business problem that Copilot can solve for them? So here you can see an example answer, right? That enterprise, you can read this through. But basically, if you see in this particular example, and this is just a sample which has been written, that the Copilot is expected to answer questions that people ask related to HR, IT, sales, finance. And answers can come from SharePoint, ServiceNow, Dynamics 365, SAP. So this could be a specific response to your question. What do you want to do with Copilot? Employees can also use Copilot to perform actions like booking a meeting room, unlocking an account. So basically, things which typically a virtual assistant or say a background automation process would do, a Copilot can also do. So it's important to establish, right, what is the business problem to be solved? Who are the end users? Do they have any current challenges in business which can be solved by the Copilot? And there is some guidance here also about why you need to ask these questions. The most important one, how is success measured? How are targets defined, and how will we be able to guide the customer to measure that Copilot has actually brought in an improvement? So these are some sample metrics. There would be more, there could be more. So basically, if we are able to measure that an end user question can lead to a resolution automatically using AI without a human coming in. Now, today also there are bots, and it is anticipated that 20% of responses are being done by bots. So if this can go up to 40% or 60% is what is the measuring. Basically, a substantial increase in the number of queries which got solved without going to a human person. Second, increase in CSAT scores. So it is maybe measured at a certain level today, and then if it goes up, that's another metric. The third is how many conversations people have. If the number of conversations are going up every month, that's another way to measure success. Fourth could be how much do you save in support, handling tickets, help desks, right? So whatever this dollar amount is, we are not telling the customer that you can save $1 million, but if there is saving, substantial saving, there's ROI. The last is that business subject matter SMEs can themselves use, test, and deploy the Copilot. So there is no IT involvement required to just kind of use the Copilot as such it is. So these could be KPIs, and there could be many more, but these are like common KPIs, very easy to understand and very easy to measure. We also need to make sure that we align with the customer and what they're assuming. They may be assuming something about the Copilot. It's important to understand what do they think the Copilot can do for them? What do they think it does? Are they thinking that I will just think about a document and it'll get made? The point is, it's important to align. So there are some examples of assumptions here. It's very important to align what are they thinking it's going to do for them, so that there is alignment and we deliver when we go to them. It's also very important to understand if they have any concerns about the Copilot. Do they feel that Copilot will replace people and hence people may not adopt it? A common concern. So it's very important to understand these concerns and then be able to mitigate these or have a strategy to mitigate them. So that's about the few things that you would do in your conversation with the customer. This is which all Copilots are available. So what I showed you was the M365 Copilot. There's a Dynamics, there's Power Platform, there's security, there's Windows, and there's GitHub. The M365 Copilot includes the Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Teams, and Outlook Copilots. There are 5 and 6. Yeah, there's a Viva Copilot. So those 6 ones are there. Now, what are the services that we would offer to a customer for Copilot? So one is we will offer deployment services. That is, we'll do a workshop to educate them about the Copilot, to identify use cases and scenarios where they could use the Copilot to improve productivity or save cost. We would do an assessment to see how ready they are. This could be in terms of environment. This could be in terms of whether they figured out what scenarios they want to use it for or we need to do it. Then there would be certain pre-deployment activities which we need to get done before the Copilot is deployed, and then we would actually deploy it. Adoption, trainings, etc., and then the change management piece. So this would cover what we would offer for the Copilot. Pre-deployment, just an example, would include checking what licenses they have. Do they have everything which is required to use M365 Copilot? Who are the pilot users? All those things is what would happen pre-deployment. Now, that's deployment. Now, what is the bigger opportunity for us? It's definitely not deployment. A lot of companies will offer deployment. The bigger opportunity for us is this. Because we are a service company, we can offer integrations and channels. We can offer integrations with all of their line of business applications. Some of this is a little technical. I won't go into it, but what you need to understand is that the Copilot can talk to various systems, various applications, so that there is a seamless experience when it's responding. It is basically getting data from all systems which exist. So this is where the service opportunity for us comes up. And there is an example also I'll show you. The second service opportunity is services related to AI. So while Copilot is based on AI, but there is so much more which we can build on top of the Copilot. We can offer sentiment analysis for customer feedback, which they may have captured in a CRM maybe, or an alternate database. We can do analysis of the transcript generated by Copilot of a Teams meeting. We can do custom language models. So basically the entire Gen AI offering that we have is something which can be offered together with the Copilot. Because the Copilot, while it sits on AI, but it does not do specific things like some of these. So there will always be an opportunity for us to offer AI services on top of it. We can offer specialized security services. So while there's a basic element of security and privacy, but there are many more security services related to data security, privacy, managing the M365 tenant itself, users, permissions, etc., which can be offered here. We can offer additional training. Even how they ask a question to the Copilot itself is an area of training. Learning how to prompt. Prompt training itself is something we can offer as prompt engineering as a separate training session. Post-meeting AI experiences, for those who are using Teams Premium. I don't know if you all know Teams Premium, but the post-meeting experience, which is there, that is analyzing what happened in the meeting, automatically generating action points from the meeting. Maybe in the meeting we said that, Hari needs to send out an email to everybody to do this, this, this. So how can Copilot just do that? So those kind of automations. And then utilizing Azure OpenAI on top of for specific opportunities to work with the enterprise data. So there are lots of services which can be offered post Copilot deployment by us. This is just something that you would do as the next step with the customer, that is build the plan to kick this off, figure out scenarios, prioritize the scenarios, and then implement. I have a couple of more slides I want to show you. So this is what is available for you to see the various flavors of Copilot. This one is public and free, just the Copilot. It has a GPT model, AI-powered search. You can all use this. Then there is Copilot with commercial data protection, which is included with a lot of M365 licenses. As of today, almost all M365 licenses include this. This is what I am using. This is what I showed you. This is the free Copilot with commercial data protection. And then you have the full suite, which is the $30 per month one, which has the enterprise security, the Micro 365 graph with context and content, and the integration with the apps. So these are the three flavors. And typically, we will go into offer services around this one, the last one, when the customer has invested in this. As you can see, it is available on almost every M365 license. E-plans as well as business licenses. Copilot is available. And user could sign in and use it via these 5 ways. You can go to Copilot, Microsoft.com, Edge, or Windows or mobile browsers. Okay, I will stop here and see if there are any questions.
There's a question that KD has put in the chat, and which is the data protected per user, or can it be accessed by an admin?
Is the data protected per user? Which data are we talking about? The M365 data. I mean, any data which a user puts on M365. Well, and I'm assuming when you say data, you're talking of files, right? Excel files or whatever. All of these files can always be accessed by a super admin if you have set it up such that an admin can have access. But it all depends on how you set it up. So,
and primarily from the, sorry.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
please go.
just from the AI perspective, I don't think so there is any privacy breach or anything. See, as you could understand from what Sarika ji was presenting here, right? It is at the end of the day using, if at all you are looking to kind of extract the intelligence from the document, it is using the document that you are feeding, right? And that piece is only relevant to you. It is having no connection. And like, again, as what Sarika ji mentioned right now, if that document is widely available and if the super admin can access it, they can probably access similar information. That's all you have to kind of understand from the overall user data protection. Otherwise, there's no such thing as a privacy breach or any of those things.
Yeah, but Kundendu, I think you asked this question, but Kundendu, that has nothing to do with Copilot. That is something, I mean, so this data has nothing to do with Copilot. Your documents are on M365. Whoever is able to access them today is able to access them today. Not able to access, not able to access. There's nothing to do with the Copilot. The question you ask the Copilot on the document is private to you. Nobody can
Okay.
see that. It is not saved. And this is something which I specifically mentioned. Your chats with the Copilot are not saved. They are not sent to any AI service. They are not, that history is not maintained. It is not used to train them. But
Yeah.
the underlying data is anyways on M365, whether there's a Copilot or not. Your second question is Microsoft Graph is just a nomenclature, or does it have anything to do with graphs in real? No, it has nothing to do with graphs in real. It's called graph because it's like if you've seen an image of Microsoft Graph, somehow it's like a network of people, emails, documents, teams, files, all of that, right? It's basically shows how everything is connected to each other in a crisscross way with the user's identity sitting in the center. So it starts looking like a lot of lines and looks like a graph. And that's why it's called a graph, but it's not a graph. Any other questions? Okay, so if there's nothing else, we can wind up. So basically what we